Okay, Chapter 3, Section 3 is solving inequalities using multiplication or division. So let's first look at the multiplication property of inequality. Again, let A, B, and C be real numbers with C greater than 0. So in this particular example, C is greater than 0. So what that means is that C has to be a positive number. So if we were to divide, sorry, not divide, we're multiplying. If we were to multiply both sides times C, then AC would still be greater than BC. Over here, A is less than B. If we multiply both sides by C, then ACC is still less than BC. So let's put some numbers to that. Let's say, again, 5 is greater than 3, and we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So 10 is still greater than 6. Over here, let's say 4 is less than 6, and we're multiplying both sides by 3. Then 12 is still less than 18. So doing the same thing to both sides still keeps the inequality true. All right, now, what if, though, C is less than 0? That means that C is negative. Okay, so if A is greater than B, and we multiply by negative C, then we get negative AC is less than, I think Miss Wooten called this the trap. I don't really know why, but anyway, called it the trap. So it's less than. I'm going to show you why that works in just a moment. We're going to look at why it works. So whenever you multiply by a negative, then the symbol here has to switch around. So let's see why that works. Let's multiply. Let's see. We have 3 is greater than 1. But let's multiply both sides by negative 2. So what do we get? We get negative 6 greater than negative 2. Well, that's not true. So that's why we have to switch this around. So it actually is going to be negative 6 is less than negative 2. So when we multiply, or in a minute we're going to find out about divide, we have to switch this symbol around when we divide or multiply by a negative number. All right, same thing happens with division. Whenever it's positive, we're dividing both sides by the same number, then the inequality still remains true. Okay, so if A is greater than B and we divide both sides by C, then A over B is greater than B over C. Same thing if A is less than C and we divide both sides by C, then A over C is less than B over C. Now, that changes a little bit whenever C is negative. So when we divide both sides by a negative C, then this is going to switch around. Okay, and I showed you earlier why that works for multiplication. Same thing of why it works on division. So that has to switch around. Okay, all right, so look for the trap. Okay, that's when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. All right, so let's look at some examples. And number 1 is very similar to what we did in 3.2, so I'm skipping number 1. And you do, on these problems, need to show your work on every single problem. So here we have x divided by 3. So if you see x and then a fraction bar, and then underneath that fraction bar you have a number, then that's division. So that means we're going to multiply both sides by that number that's in the denominator. So now those are 1s. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So x is greater than negative 6. Now, I did not multiply by negative 3. I multiplied by a positive 3. So we don't switch it around. This is not the trap. All right, remember earlier about that pull down menu? That's what you're going to have here. So we're going to mark greater than negative 6. Once you hit check answer, then we're looking for the correct graph. So it's got to be shadings to the right, and the negative 6 should have a hole. Okay. All right, number 3. So we have 2 is less than P over 6. I want you to flip this around. So it's P over 6 is greater than 2. So I want you to make the variable on the left. And really the only reason we're doing that is because we're graphing. So multiply both sides by 6 because there's a 6 in the denominator. And so P is greater than 12. So that's what you're actually going to type here. P is greater than 12. When you do the greater than, you can use the keyboard. There, right beside the letter M is the less than and greater than symbol, or you can click on the tray at the bottom, the tool tray, and click on greater than there. All right, so 12 has a hole, and it's going to, the shading is going to the right. All right, number 4. So now you still get to use a calculator, so I don't really mind that at all. Just be careful on the trap. So here we have a negative V. So we're negative V over 5. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative 5. So a negative times a negative is a positive, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we have V. Now, we have to switch the symbol around because we multiplied by a negative number. So this greater than becomes less than or equal to. And we multiply on our calculator, and we get negative 26. So V is less than or equal to negative 26. That's what we have to type. Again, you might want to use that tool tray down at the bottom of your screen. Click on less than or equal to, and then negative 26. All right, so in our graph, it will be shaded in or filled in. The hole will be filled in. So it means negative 26 is included. Oops, I picked the wrong one. That's not negative 26. Negative 26 is included, and it's going to the left. Be careful on that. All right, number 5. When we are solving equations that have fractions multiplied by the variable, we multiply by the reciprocal, negative 5 over 1, which is also negative 5. I'm multiplying by a negative, so I have to switch the symbol around. Negative 5 times negative 1/5 is just positive M, and on the other side it's less than or equal to 15. So again, we have that pull down menu on this one. Make sure you pick the right one there, and then type 15. So since it has a bar there, we're going to shade the one that has 15, not negative 15, and it's going to the left. All right. So number 6 is like number 5, so let's skip to number 7. Number 7, we're using the division property of equality. We're dividing by 3 in order to get the M by itself. So M is greater than or equal to 6. Now I divided by a positive, so this is not the trap. So M is greater than or equal to 6. And we have to type that in. So again, you have to use that tool tray down at the bottom. And greater than or equal to 6 is right here. It's A. All right. Number 8. All right, so first you need to flip this around because C is on the right, and we want C to be on the left. So we have to switch that symbol around too. All right, so first we're going to switch it around so that the C term is on the left. Now we're going to divide by negative 4. So that means we're dividing by negative. So this is the trap. So we have to switch this around. So C is less than 2. That goes in the blank. Then you hit check answer, and we're looking for the 2 with the hole, and it's pointing to the left. The shade's to the left. All right, number 9. Now don't get carried away with the trap. Whoops. Okay, if you divide by a positive, it doesn't matter if your answer is negative. If we divide by a positive, the symbol is going to stay exactly the way it is. Okay, so don't get too carried away with that. So Z is greater than negative 5, and our graph would be a hole at negative 5 and shaded to the right. All right, number 10. We're dividing by negative 3. So this is the trap. We're dividing by a negative. That means that this symbol is going to switch around. So H is less than or equal to, so we got to pick the correct one there, less than or equal to negative 10. And so when we pick the right graph, we want to make sure that the negative 10 is filled in, not 16, and it has to be shaded to the left, so that's C. All right, number 11. A certain species of fish costs $5.99 each. You can spend no more than $30. How many of this type of fish can you buy for your aquarium? So $5.99 each means $5.99 times X. So anytime you say that word each or per, we're multiplying that cost times a variable. Less than or equal to 30. So divide. And we get less than or equal to, sorry, I didn't do this on my calculator. 30 divided by 5.99 is, it could be helpful if I did this right, approximately 5.0083. So you can, we're not going to buy a part of a fish, so you can buy no more than 5 fish. So notice you don't even have to enter the inequality on this one. You just have to enter the whole number, whole part of a fish, not part of a fish, just the whole of a fish. So 5 whole fish. All right, number 12. Replace the following, and on my paper it didn't print, but it has like a little square right here on the computer screen with a number that makes the inequalities equivalent, and the square is actually times S. So in order to, when we divide by 21, whatever we are dividing by 21, that has to equal -7. So we're multiplying both sides by 3, but I want it to be a positive 21, so that will be a -3. So I kind of went backwards with that one. I took the S is greater than -7, and I want that to be 21, so I'm multiplying by -3 in order to do that. And so when I multiply by -3, that symbol switches around. So I went from here to here. So that number has to be -3. I hope that isn't too confusing. If it is, let me know in class tomorrow. Alright, on this one it says solve the following inequality, and it says justify each step. So, first of all, just to make it easier, I'm going to go ahead and switch this around. So what would I do to solve for t? I would actually multiply both sides by 7. So t is greater than or equal to -14. So what did I do in that particular instance? I used the multiplication property of inequality, so that is C. Okay, so number 14 is like number 13, and the rest of these problems I believe you should be able to do on your own. So you have 14 problems for homework. You got the examples. Time to get to work.